You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, everyone. I'm back. It has been, my producer Mark and I were talking, it's been maybe 2 or 3 months since I've been on Pet Life Radio. I had to take a little sabbatical, but I'm back. It's great to be back. We have a great show today. Truly one of my all-time favorite dog people. His name is Randy Grimm. He is the founder of Stray Rescue here in St. Louis, where I live. But before we get to Randy, you know I always do a shout out before the show. Normally it's to a special dog or cat. However, today it is for a special organization. It's called Muttville. They're in the San Francisco area. Yesterday, San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee, he proclaimed yesterday, May 10th, Muttville Senior Dog Rescue Day. So a big shout out to Sherry Franklin. She started Muttville in 2007. Since that time, they have rescued 1,000 senior dogs and found loving home for them. So, shout out to Sherry Franklin and Muttville. You know, I cannot stress enough how important it is to rescue a dog, and particularly senior dogs, because, as you know, they are so often some of the last dogs to be adopted out of shelters. So, you know how wonderful they are. So, if you have a chance, if you could open your heart, rescue a senior dog. And one man who knows all about rescues is Randy Grimm. We're going to talk to him right after this short break.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Buster, you're telling me my dog food products can't go on your shelves?
That's right. Didn't pass one of my Petco certified nutrition checklists. Sorry, Wayne.
Who made these checklists?
Geniuses. Very smart guys.
Well, it's good enough for most grocery stores.
Do you see cheese puffs on my shelves? Mayonnaise? Soda pop?
No.
That's because I ain't running no grocery store, Wayne. Your pets will get better nutrition. I guarantee it. Petco. With healthy pets go.
Enter the code SASSY10, SASSY, the number 10, and get 10% off any order. No minimum at petco.com.
Whether they're big, small, hairy, or whatever, you're going to need gear for your feet. And Kids Foot Locker's got all the great shoes and gear that'll get you in the game.
Go to kidsfootlocker.com. Enter the code AFSAS1KF to get 10% off any order of $50 or more. Or enter the code AFSAS2KF to get 15% off any order of $75 or more at kidsfootlocker.com.
And cover those funky feet.
How would you like your business to reach out and invite in our audience? We have a brand new trademark concept called InfoSeeds. InfoSeeds are short 20-second seeds of information about your place of business, practice, or service. Is the best, most cost-effective way to invite us in. We only have a limited number of slots left. For more information, visit the website
PetLifeRadio.com.
Click on sponsorship information. There you can listen to a sample of InfoSeed. Remember, only a limited number of opportunities are available.
Got questions about your hound's health? Need the facts on Fido's fitness or food? You want to unleash your pup's potential? Well, you've come to the right place with Win with Dogs. Here, we learn how easy it is to naturally improve the lives of our furry friends. So sit, stay, and get ready to win with dogs. With me, Raquel Wynn. Exercise, nutrition, interaction, and love make for one healthy, happy hound. Give yourself the gift of knowledge on demand every week right here at Pet Life Radio with me, Raquel Wynn, and Win with Dogs.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Well, Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of Sassy Seniors. I'm your host, Kelly Jackson, and I am so pleased to have one of my homies joining us today because I'm based out of St. Louis, and Randy Grimm is the founder of Stray Rescue in St. Louis. And you don't even have to live in the St. Louis area to know who Randy is because he has had national and worldwide attention for the work that he has done with strays. He will go above and beyond to get a stray dog and rescue that dog. And Randy, I just can't say enough about you. Welcome to
I love you too.
I got to start out with this.
It's great to be here.
Well, First of all, you have the No Kill Shelter here in St. Louis. And can you share with our listeners, for the few people who may not know, how you actually started out? Because you were a former flight attendant.
The worst flight attendant. The world's worst flight attendant.
I can imagine you actually
I found out later I was hired only because everyone felt sorry for me. Because back then I was so shy. And I was like the tallest flight attendant and biggest guy they ever hired. And so I felt like a giant on those planes.
Well, you are a big guy. You are very tall.
I'm big bone. Bone.
Well, I say I'm a big bone person too. But I gotta ask, do you think because you were shy, is that why you have such a great connection with dogs?
Well, not really. It really started when I was a child because I had an abusive father, and my escape, starting at the age of about 5, was stealing all the tuna and milk from the house and lifting up the sewers. And I grew up in Washington, D.C., and the sewer system there is a lot different than in St. Louis, where, you know, it's like a 50-pound sewer lid that would take me about an hour to get off, and then you have to climb really far deep down. And I would just sit in the sewer and feed stray cats, and just to get away from it all. And one winter we had 18 inches of snow, and me and my brother found this bones in our setter that we thought was dead in the deep down in the snow, and we carried him home and we put him in front of the fireplace, and actually I think that's when I first learned about empathy, because I looked in his eyes and I saw fear, and I thought, boy, I can relate to how this dog is feeling. And then I realized whenever I brought a stray home, it was the one time it brought our family together. So I think a shrink would say, I think I know why you do this, Randy, because, you know, the happiest times in your childhood only consisted of animals. And it really did. But I did want to see the world, so I signed up back in the day when they actually fed you and everything.
I know.
Back when it was real work, but and I would be flying, and there was no security for us at all. And back way before 9/11, this is in the early '80s, and I was and I was born in France, so I was doing a lot of I know a lot of people don't. No, not probably français, not much. I actually speak it quite well when I'm there. It's weird, but when I'm here, I forget everything.
You go back into St. Louis accents.
Far.
I know, exactly.
But when I was flying, I started seeing all these strays, especially in Istanbul, and I'd be sitting there eating, and I'd have like 100 cats on me, and stray dogs all around me, and ended up just feeding them, and I just started bringing them back. And I had a whole racket going with the flight attendants and pilots and customs. And if you were on my flight, you would know, because like 2 or 3 bathrooms were always not working, but you could hear noises coming from in there.
So you
and that was my flight.
Really? You would bring dogs and cats?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I knew I was going to be fired because I kept getting in trouble for it. And I knew that the only thing I liked about being a flight attendant was to travel. I'm not, the biggest outgoing people person, and I prefer the company of dogs. So I knew I had to leave, and I did. But all of that combined accidentally found Stray Rescue when a journalist once heard about some weird guy that and this is like 20 years ago. Weird guy that goes into the very impoverished areas of the city and where the highest crime rates are, and rescues the dogs that are barely surviving on the street. And,
I first heard about you, Randy, when I first moved to St. Louis, and I heard about this guy who was going into East St. Louis, Illinois, and rescuing these dogs. I'm like, who is this guy?
Oh, I still go there, too. It's my weekends is over there, and then the weekdays is the north side usually, and but the east side is where there's lots of packs of feral dogs, and that's one of my favorite things to do is to watch the packs, triage them to, as they start, going down. Their average lifespan is less than 2 years. But we're up to third and fourth generation feral packs of dogs over there. There's truly is tens of thousands of dogs on the east side that are, just surviving on the streets. And so that became a real love of mine. And that journalist that wrote about me, it became a book called The Man Who Talks to Dogs. And that's when my life made a huge change. And that was where I actually went to a shrink to help me become more outgoing, because I had to make a decision. I was getting that 15 minutes of fame that that people get. Not like Paris Hilton fame, but 15 minutes of fame. And I thought, and I knew I had to, I had a choice. I can go get help and take that and use it to help more dogs, or stay in my comfort zone. And the thought of, I feel like I can achieve almost anything when it's helping the animals. And so Sister Rescue just was born from that book. And then I wrote a couple books since. But, everybody asked me, did you have a business plan? And I go, my business plan really was whatever the needs of the animals were. That's it. They had no, and if we had the money.
Right.
And so that's it. That was Randy's business plan, even though I've had to write fake business plans for grants, because I don't, I'm like, well, it's you just want to write it's the needs of the community. It's not so complex.
Well, can you share with our listeners, because, we have listeners from all over who are listening to this, as you know, when it comes to radio and podcasts and stuff like that. So it's not just in the St. Louis area, but you turned what you were doing, getting stray dogs from other countries and bringing them here, and from impoverished areas of the St. Louis area, and you have turned it into, you have 2 no-kill shelters. You have
3.
More than, I'm sorry. See?
3.
3 no-kill shelters. Okay, wait. 3. I didn't even know that. That was okay. And then you have hundreds of volunteers. Hundreds of volunteers.
We just hit the 1,000 mark like last week.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh my goodness!
No.
Well, congratulations on that. A few people in my condo building also volunteer for you, by the way. So, I mean, it's
awesome.
Amazing what you have done for a shy guy. You have turned this around, and you have saved countless animals.
It happens because I love them so much. I mean, I truly do. That's what makes me tick. I'm not a good administrator, but John Garcia from the TV show Dogtown and Best Friends, hey, I'm telling you first before we do a press release on it, from Best Friends Animal Society. Yeah, he's coming to work for me starting June 1st, and he's going to help run everything with me.
So he's
I'm real excited about that.
To St. Louis?
Yeah. He's moving to St. Louis, and he's going to be. We're going to be working hand in hand. So, and we've been friends for many years. I've guest starred on that show, Dogtown, a couple times. So we've known each other for many years, and we're like brothers, and we think alike. And so I'm really excited that I wooed him to leave Utah and come out to St. Louis.
Congratulations! That is wonderful. Because
I'm excited.
Because you can't do it all yourself. And I know you have, like you said, you have a team of volunteers. But, to have someone like that coming here is quite a feat. Well, you've been featured on Animal Planet, Nat Geo, Weather Channel, Forbes Magazine, Today Show, USA Today. The list goes on.
Yeah, that's what always freaks me out, because I don't look at, the dog gods must do something, because I don't, people are like, oh, Randy's a media hound, and I'm like, no, you don't. trust me, even in St. Louis, I'll have on any given week, one of the stations calls and says, "Do you have a story for us?" So when there's no like Obama bin Laden or whatever being found, when there's no big news, they come to me, and we have an interesting story every day here. So, because most of the dogs we have have been shot, burned, amputated limbs from human abuse. So it's we don't have mini poodles or anything like that. It's the hood dog.
Right, Randy. What are some of the strangest places that you've actually rescued dogs?
Oh, there's so many.
I know.
The scariest was an abandoned hospital, and it was real dark, and it felt like I was in an episode of some kind of ghost show. And when a pack of dogs just kind of come running down the hall at you, you're going, "Oh God, please don't let them kill me." Instead, they were running out of fear, and they just passed me by. That was an odd place. I fell into I had to climb. I had two feral dogs, and a possum fall into a 20-foot gully, and I even rescued the possum. That scared me because I never rescued a possum before. So they look cute, but they're not that kind. And then that was hard. And the one was, and this was this year, was this poor dog fell into the sewer company, this MSD, fell into one of those vats of sewage and spent the night treading water in sewage. And the chemicals and all that burnt her skin, her eyes. I had to go, and I'm not a big fan of sewage. I don't think anyone is, and get her out of the sewage. This is odd too. This year I've rescued 3 dogs off of rooftops. So
wait, so you actually go on the rooftops because it's really rare. You've been doing this for so many years.
I do, and I'm afraid of heights. So I've learned how not to look down at all. Because once I look down, everything starts shaking, So I'm sorry there's the phone ringing in the background.
It's okay.
But, I don't understand this phone system. I don't touch it. I'm sorry. I just know how to say hello. So a lot of very interesting, the scariest is always highway rescues and, you name it, I feel it. I always say I think I've seen it all, but every year somebody, something or someone upstages that, and I've seen something more horrific. So, but I've seen the worst I think I've ever seen it was a big story, probably 7 to 10 years back, when a dog named Rick, someone burned him from head to toe. He didn't even look like a dog. And when I picked him up, he had a chain that could tow a house around his neck. And when I picked him up, he was just so bloody and full of sores, and he would stuck to my shirt. And I remember just crying so hard. And I got him to VSS, a specialist, and they did plastic surgery on him. It was amazing. And Tony La Russa, the St. Louis Cardinals manager, became a big fan of his. And once Rick was able to leave after many months in the hospital, it was cool to see him run around Busch Stadium with no, all empty. And Tony and I just had a blast with them. So that was the most horrific. I have never been able to show the pictures because I don't think anyone could handle it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Such a happy ending for Rick and, so many other dogs. And it's amazing.
Well, that's what kind of makes us unique in a lot of ways, especially on the national level, is, is coming up with solutions and not just putting a dog down because they're injured. If I was in a car accident and I got my leg broken and my ribs crushed or whatever, I wouldn't want you to put me down. I'd want you to fix it.
Right, exactly.
With lots of morphine trips going, but the dogs are they're. I'm really into pain management, and VSS, really keeps the pain under control for them. So we spend well over $1 million just on medical.
Are you talking a year?
A year.
Oh my goodness.
Because no one we rescue is healthy. I mean, to me, the healthiest dogs that we rescue are heartworm-positive dogs.
Yeah.
That's all that's wrong with them.
You
And
truly
that's
do get the
sad.
worst of the worst. You really do. Hey, I want to ask you, we're going to take a quick break. I want to ask you about a couple things. Senior dogs, because I know you were saying truly like the average lifespan of dogs who were living on the street, like 1 to 2 years old. So I want to ask you about older dogs, which is what I do, and
which I love.
I
have my old girls, my grannies at home.
And I want to ask you about reality television. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Randy Grimm, founder of Stray Rescue St. Louis. We'll be right back, you guys.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Love your pets but wish their medications were a lot less expensive? They are at 1-800-PET-MEDS. You'll not only save on flea and heartworm medications, but on prescriptions for arthritis, incontinence, thyroid, and more. And you get fast service, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, our licensed pharmacists ensure accuracy, monitor drug interaction, and more. See why over 5 million people have trusted their pet's health to 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy. Call now or order online.
Go to 1-800-PetMeds.com/Sassy, SASSY, to get 10% off any order and free shipping on orders of $39 or more at PetMeds.com.
I play tennis because I love to. But inside, I want to win. Take away the court, the net. I might not be a player, but I'll always be a competitor. Lady Foot Locker understands that.
Lady Foot Locker, the first to carry Adidas off-court shoes and the gear that goes with them.
If you play your best, there's no regret.
Lady Foot Locker, one place, every woman.
Go to ladyfootlocker.com and enter the code AFSAS1LF to get 10% off any order of $50 or more. Or enter the code AFSAS2LF to get 15% off any order of $75 or more at ladyfootlocker.com.
There's a movement afoot. ShoeBuy.com. Join the millions of people who shop ShoeBuy.com's over 400 brands and 500,000 products. Order now and get free shipping and free return shipping. ShoeBuy.com, the world's greatest shoe store.
Walk your dog in style and comfort. Enter the code SASSY, SASSY, at checkout and get a 10% discount plus free shipping at ShoeBuy.com.
This year, Americans are expected to spend a jaw-dropping $36 billion on their pets. From lighted leashes to high-end spa products, the discriminating pet owner can find just about anything to pamper his or her pet. Hi, this is Michelle Fern. Join me every week for Best Bets for Pets, where we'll talk about the latest pet products and talk to the companies that make them. Best Bets for Pets, every week, only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sassy Seniors. I'm your host, Kelly Jackson, and I am here with Randy Grimm, founder of Stray Rescue. He's been sharing all of the stories of just truly the countless number of... Can you estimate how many dogs you've rescued through the years?
No, I really can't quantify it because I get asked that question all the time, but it has to be, well over 10,000 that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
It's something that I don't. As soon as I rescue one, I move on to the next one, and so it's it's a process that I just never been. I used to be able to keep count, 20 years ago, but now I have no idea. That's a lot.
I know. It is. It is a lot. Well, let me ask you about senior dogs. I know that you have I read your book, Don't Dump the Dog. In fact, I have it right in front of me. And
Writing that senior chapter was my favorite.
Yeah, and
that
I love
was
it.
True.
Yeah, it's totally a great book. And on page 187, you have a chapter on I Love Old Dogs. But I want to tell you guys, if you want a book, and this is just for pet owners, for pets of any age, this book is just really entertaining, too. But it's Don't Nump the Dog, Outrageous Stories and Simple Solutions to Your Worst Dog Behavior Problems. And seriously, I was talking with a friend, Randy, about this, and it's really written like you talk. It's written...
Well, that's what and I know I love it. I got some great reviews, but I love that the common theme in the reviews, his earthy style. I'm like, that's the only style I know to write how I talk. And the book is funny, but we use it at Stray Rescue as it goes with every adoption. Because most of the reasons why a dog is returned, it's kind of like the revenge of the shelter workers, too. Most of the dogs that are returned, you hear the excuses are just out of this world, and some of them are just plain dumb, or just laziness on the guardian's standpoint. Yeah. So I try to make fun of myself to make sure people know I'm not preaching, because I'm not perfect either. But at the same time, there are some simple solutions for the lazy. It's the lazy man's guide to fixing problems.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just accepting the dog for who it is.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let me ask you about older dogs, and when it comes to dogs in your shelter.
We've got a great program.
Well,
it's called Seniors for Seniors.
Uh-huh.
And that came from my mom. She put her last dog down, and I said, well, let me get you 2 or 3 more new dogs. And she said she's on a fixed income, and she's afraid that the dogs may outlive her. And I went to bed that night thinking, I wonder how my mom's a great home for dogs. And I was wondering how many seniors adopt a dog with fear of either dying before the dog or can't afford the dog. And so by morning, I started writing a program called Seniors for Seniors, and by the end of the week, it was in the newspaper, and within a month, it got endowed by someone that read the article, an elderly woman in the newspaper. And the program is, if the dog is, it doesn't need any dog. If you want a dog, it doesn't even have to be senior. We prefer a senior dog because we have plenty of them. But it doesn't even have to be a senior, but we push for like 5 and over, which 5 isn't a senior, but it's calmer, usually by the age of 5. And if you're 60 years old, it's free. The adoption is free. All medical is free. You get a caseworker that can take you to the vet, bring you the dog food you need, any supplies that you may need, and even just give some human companionship to some of the elderly people that don't have anyone. And their whole world evolves around the dog that we give to them, and it's wonderful. And if they do pass away, the dog goes to another senior home. So it's such a win-win for us and for the seniors out there, because they don't have to worry ever about the problems that my mom worried about, and now she has 3 little dogs running around her place.
Oh, that's
after I started that.
You also have a Panda program, right? It's a hospice program for dogs.
The Panda program is awesome. That's hospice for dogs, and God, it's really neat because some people have. But the Panda program is hospice for dogs. I was shocked at foster parents. We have plenty of foster parents for this program. It's a tough program though for the person. So we also have support, for the foster parents. And when I say support for foster parents, that we all come together and hug them and tell them how much they mean to all of us when the dog passes on. But it's a lot of cancer dogs that don't show the outward signs but are dying from it. So we will give them quality of life until they're in pain. And so they go to a home and live the life of Riley. Most of them, the last 2 dogs last month, they died within about a week after being in the foster home. But I still feel that these guys have never experienced anything. They've lived a life of abuse and dumped on the streets. So to give them that 1 week of love, food, no fear, and spoiled rotten, they can die with a smile on their face. And I'm going to start crying talking about it.
Let me tell you something.
We go through it, because when we go through it all, we go through it as a family at Stray Rescue. We really do. We go through it as a family. And the volunteers that I have, none of this would be possible without them. I get all the credit, and I don't deserve it, because the volunteers and staff do so much.
If our listeners have a chance to go on your website, they need to read the story about Dempsey, because it's really very touching, and how two of your fosters took care of Dempsey in his last week of life. So it's a great program.
Yeah, it is, and it's pretty. I'm hoping one day it gets an endowment, because I think it's really outside of the box thinking, and it's a very unique program, especially for a shelter as big as ours and as busy as ours. So but it's also another way to remain no-kill. And I don't like the term no-kill. It's just a.
What term would you use in your place of no-kill?
I think we should maybe we should just stop labeling the type of shelter you are, because I think it also hurts no-kill, saying no-kill, because a lot of people will flock to the kill shelters because they go, oh, they don't need us, that dog isn't going to die. And then what happens is where our census is off the charts. And so if you like the no-kill concept, I think you need to support no-kill when you do adoptions, when you go to adopt, or they won't be around much longer. So so that's why I don't like the terminology. I mean, do we have to put down an aggressive dog that would kill everybody? And we've tried medication and behaviorists and trainers, and it's just as bad as it was from day one. Yes. How many a year? Probably under 5 a year out of thousands a year that come in. So, so we do have to, but that's the only time we do put them down. We don't put them down for illness. And we don't even put you down for cancer unless you're suffering. Right. And of course, I've rescued dogs that were hit by cars and stuff that they're dying in my arms, and the only humane thing is to put them down. Or they do die in my arms when I'm trying to get them back. And that's another thing. It's real personal on rescuing. It's a very big, long Jeep. Looks kind of like a Hummer. We have a couple of those, and if you're dying, you're on my lap while I drive, and because I don't want your last minutes on this planet to think no one cared about you.
Oh, Randy. Well, your nickname, or I don't know, I guess I could say your nickname, you're called the Dog Man. And and
it's pretty funny when you're in a store. Hey, Dog Man.
I know,
hello?
Hey, Dog Man. And I guess, let me know if we can talk about this, but I know during our pre-interview, we talked about this, that you shot a reality series, didn't you?
Right, I shot a pilot with Warner Brothers and Shadow Catcher Entertainment called The Dog Man, and it's in its I don't know when they're coming with the different channels doing budgets right now. Hopefully we'll start shooting in the fall. And I haven't told people this. I told you. But and one day when you're here, Kelly, I'll show you the pilot. It's funny.
Okay.
It really does show the truth about what goes on in the shelter. That a lot of people may have an idea, but they really don't know. But it takes the people along on the rescue and the hell of it and the illnesses and watching the dog be operated on. I rescued a dog where they had to remove a bullet from his head. You get to see all of that, and then you get to follow the dogs to their final destination, which is a loving home. And you get to see how that happens, and you get to see how weird I am, and it's very it's because I wouldn't do it. I've been asked to do a lot of shows, and I said yes to this one Well, one, it'll help with donations for Stray Rescue because we're always, I always say we live paycheck to paycheck here, and then because we're kind of the underdog charity here, I feel like we're more well known on a national level than a local level sometimes.
That is interesting.
And, and we did win Shelter of the Year this year. So we are in New York. That was from I think Dog Fancy magazine and Pet Finders. So but it looked like a child pageantry trophy thing that came out. So I was like, wow. Well, all of us laughed at it. It's funny, but because you're not doing it for the accolades, you're doing it to. But it was nice to be recognized by the entire country as America's favorite shelter, and that was really neat. I think our
huge.
Coolest honor. And now I lost my train of thought. What I was saying.
Well, I was going to ask you, when do you think that when it comes to this pilot, when will we be able to see it?
This fall. Fall.
On what?
If everything stays on track, it would be.
And where can you see it? Is it going to be on Animal Planet? Is it going to be on?
That's the problem. It's going to be on one of 3 networks.
Ooh.
National Geographic. Oprah has some network called OWN.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard a little bit about that one.
And A&E.
So that's interesting. It's one of 3 of those.
Right. Well, the 3 of them are fighting, which makes me feel good. They're fighting over it.
I love it. See, listen to you.
So I guess the 2 ever pays the most money.
The shy kid from, did you say, and now you have...
Washington, D.C. Yeah. And I'm very shy. I mean, I am. I still am. I mean, when it comes to talking about animals, and I'm in my office with my pit bull Tommy that lives with me, and in my office, he's the meanest dog I ever rescued. He tried to kill me, and I spent 2 days sleeping next to his cage and working with him, and now he loves 7 people here, and me he just worships, and he's become, he's just awesome. He might have to live here for the rest of his life, but I hope not. I'm going to keep working with him, get him used to more and more people, but he's awesome.
Randy, we're going to start wrapping this up. I have one final question, and it's not really for me. I asked my Facebook friends. I told my Facebook family that I was going to be interviewing you today. And Karen Callahan has a question for you. She says,
"Sure.
Where do you see Stray Rescue and the future of homeless pets in 10 years?
10. That's a good number. I'm glad you didn't say 5. 10. 10. I expect, if I can keep this going and keep myself healthy and going, my goal is to see the city of St. Louis addressing the core issue of the problem, which is the poor that have dogs, and building a bridge to educate those communities and offer all free services, because most people there can't afford dinner for their family. So in 10 years, I would like to see St. Louis truly a no-kill city, and also see people being responsible and for their dogs, no matter where you live in our city. And I think we can do it by then. I do think in 10 years we can do it. I think the biggest, and if you're in rescue and listening, you're probably going to nod your head. The biggest issue in animal welfare, I think, in St. Louis is nobody wanting to work together. Everybody's threatened by each other, the other shelters and organizations out there, and a lot of bickering that does nothing to help the animals. So if we need to have the Humane Society of Missouri and Stray Rescue finally start working together, I think that's going to be the key. And, right now, their executive director isn't too thrilled with me or Stray Rescue, and I think it's because we do everything outside of the box and to avoid killing. And I think we need to check the egos and all that at the door and work together. If we don't collaborate, it's not going to work. So my goal, too, is to bridge that gap and keep sending them olive branches every year until they say yes.
Well, Randy, I hope that happens someday, and not only in this city, but like you were saying, really in cities all around the country to be able to work together. And, it is all about
it's in every community. When I travel, I see it. I mean, I was just in Kansas City last week and doing a book signing, and all the different groups, and they have the exact same problem that we have here. And I've heard it when I've been in LA. I've heard it. No one works together, and I think we need to figure out what's so threatening to not work together. My goal is to be out of a job, and maybe that's a threat to some people. I want to go work at Burger King at the drive-thru. It looks fun.
I was going to say...
it looks really brainless.
I was going to say, I say this with all sincerity, but I hope that you are out of a job soon when it comes to stray rescue.
Me too. Me too, because you know what? That's called retirement, baby. I'm going to live on a farm with a bunch of animals and very few people.
Well, Randy, this has been a pleasure chatting with you. And
I had a blast. And just remember, strayrescue.org.
strayrescue.org. Thanks so much, Randy.
Thank you, and I'll see you soon, I hope.
Okay. I just have a few final thoughts, and I'll try not to get too verklempt, but, I was gone for about 3 months, and part of the reason was I've just been really busy with ARF.com, and we're starting another business, My BFF Network, which will match senior pets with senior people and give them a little alone time for a couple of hours a day. But I lost my running partner, my BFF. Miko passed away in February, and I just want to say a special little word for all of those of you who have senior pets. That is the consequence of having our pets, because they're never with us long enough. Miko died at the age of 14 in February, and he was the reason why I started ARF.com and why I got into really wanting to educate people on senior pet ownership. So I miss him terribly. He was the best dog ever, but I know he is in a wonderful spot right now, playing with all of his other doggy friends. I miss you terribly, and Miko, you gave me many, many years of love. That is this edition of Sassy Seniors. As always, thanks so much for joining us, and I'll see you next time.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.